Alright, let me come around. So, today we're talking about recruiting, and we're also doing things a little bit different. So normally recruiting, we'd go through who to look for, what to do, we'll still go over the basics and everything like that. But really tonight, as far as recruiting goes, is attitude. Your attitude about recruiting and your attitude about like who you're looking for and what you want out of this business, okay? So, first question I would have for you is, let's go over the basics. Who are you looking for? Anybody? Everybody? Sam? I'll call on you.
Anyone with skin.
Anyone with skin? You want anybody with skin on your team?
18 and above.
Okay. You don't have any prejudice, do you? You don't have any, like, comb that you're going through when you're selecting people, do you? It's not a terrible thing. It's really not a terrible thing. But specifically, I personally look for people who are motivated, ambitious, and daring for the MAD team. That's why I put that name as like our front, is like make a difference, but also it stands for MAD, motivated, ambitious, and daring. If they're not in one of those three categories, to me, they're kind of just like sloughing through life and kind of just like on a roller coaster of emotion, and they can't actually discipline themselves to get something done. And so we all know people like that who, get excited and then get not, and get excited and get not. And that is another training that I think we've gone over before, which is like level of commitment. If you're level 1, level 2, level 3, or level 4 committed person, right? So level 1 is like, what's in it for me? Level 2 is like, I'll contribute comfortably. Level 3 is like, I'm committed. And level 4 is like, I'm committed for not even myself, but for you, right? So I try and look for at least 2 to 3 level commitment people. Level 1s, they're gonna sign up because they're excited, and then the next day they might not even do anything. That's level 1. Like they're just like, So they're like, what's in it for me? I get a cute starter kit for $100, so 75% off the product, and I may be able to place an order and get something out of this, maybe do a party, and then after that, sometimes their commitment isn't super high. So this is where your attitude kind of shifts about the way that you're recruiting. Okay, so if you're only recruiting to recruit, and just like crunch the numbers that we know are out there, right? 1 in 3 work, 1 in 3, don't do anything, and 1 in 3 just kind of like come in, come out, come in, come out. Super cute! It's bringing cupcakes. Muffins? So the purpose of why I'm trying to share this with you is because I've been listening to Stacey James. If you don't know who that is, she's a freaking rock star in Mary Kay. She is an inner circle national, which means she's not even a national, she's in the inner circle of nationals, which there's only like a handful. And they are the ones who are practically corporate. They are sitting with corporate staff, making all the judgments and calls and the way the companies like handles things and does things, sticking with Mary Kay's philosophies and like making the programs that we have better. That's where we get a lot of our bonuses, like Great to Be 8 or Great in promotion, the all in, you know what I'm talking about. Having 8 active and going into DIQ. I'm pretty sure that came from one of the nationals who's like, we need this. So they're pretty top notch, okay? So Stacey James, I've been listening to a CD of hers like all week long, the same message over and over and over again, because she thinks so differently than what I've been trained to think, that I'm like, I want to adapt this and I want to cling to it. So I'm gonna, if I could, I would just like play her whole speech, but I was like, that's probably not the best thing to do. So I'm gonna try and like pull out parts that like she was talking about, and it wasn't even on recruiting. Okay, so what she was talking about is when she first got started. Let me just tell you her story. Stacey James actually started in Omaha. Her apartment was off of Londo and 90th or something like that, like right here in Omaha. And I think I was telling you about this, the yucky yellow carpeting, and she came and parked her spot in and talked to the tenants that live there now, and she's like, oh my gosh, she used to live down there. Anyway, so that's where her beginnings were, and when she started Mary Kay for hope. She was like, this is going to be my everything. We have gross yellow carpeting, we have a hole in our floorboard of our car, we have tons of debt. She started Mary Kay to get her out of all of that. She started it for hope, right? So with that, she looked through the marketing plan, and one of the biggest things that came out of the marketing plan when she sat down with this lady, out of all the things that she shared about the marketing plan, the biggest thing that stuck out to Stacey James was that we have a no criticism policy. That we don't believe in constructive criticism. Mary Kay did not believe in constructive criticism. And the reason why I say that is how often do we like to go, taking a hammer, like a mallet, to people and be like, you were late, you canceled, you didn't show up, you've been like postponing with me, you won't answer my text on time, and doing these kind of things. Or even with our team members, it can be easy for us to be like, you said, you're not doing that, and criticizing instead of trying to fix them, just loving on them, right? And that's where it becomes really hard, because our first instinct is to be like, that's not what I planned for, that's not where I was planning on going with this. Like, I wanted to have 3 active team members right now. What is your problem? Like, you're not fitting into my schedule, right? We can easily do that. Like, I'm not in my Cadillac yet. Like, I could totally be like, whatever. But what Stacey James realized is that it's not about criticism. It's about, like, women don't want to be fixed. They want to be loved. And so she started Mary Kay just based on that. She was a school teacher, and she was like, constructive criticism is like, totally doesn't work. Totally doesn't work. People just lash back more, and they push back even harder. And like, there's no common ground that we come to where they feel safe playing with you. Like they have a safe place to play on your team, or a safe place to play as your consultant, or just knowing that they're okay where they're at until they're ready to do more, right? Until they're ready to go from a level 1 commitment to a 2 or 3 or 4. And so, fast forward, she shares the business plan with her father, and her father sits down with her, and I want to share like the business plan with you guys. I need a blank piece of paper for this. Okay, so I don't think I shared the business with either of you like this, but I've actually been shown this before by Gina. So pretend that this is a $100 bill. Okay? And when you rip it in half, that's not even half. 50% of it we know goes back to the company to buy our product. Okay? Well, that's a lie. 50% of it goes into our pocket. Okay? The other 50%, the company gives us 4% for team building, having 1 to 3 team members. $50 bonuses are included in that. Okay? 9% to 13% when you have you personally working and have 5 or more on your team. Okay? We have the free car program. Okay? They'll actually give you the car or the 500, 475, 500, or 900 every month. And then the bonuses, director bonuses. Okay? We get $500 just for doing 5,000. We get another 13% on top of our personal unit. We get another incentive for our personal team building for that month. Like, it gets crazy, okay? As a director, it's like triple what you make as a consultant. Get excited, okay? And then last but not least, of course, as nationals, you get like wellness bonuses. I still get wellness bonuses, which is kind of like insurance, okay? Boom. When all is said and done, how much does the company keep? 21 cents on every dollar. Okay, so this right here, 21 cents on every dollar, and this altogether is 79 cents on every dollar. Okay, so when she shared that with her father, do you know what he said? He said that it is completely opposite of any other way that any other marketing team works. Like, network marketing just doesn't flow like that. Nobody's been able to duplicate this kind of formula and make it work for more than 10 years. Like Mary Kay, Herbalife, and Amway are the only 3 companies that I know of are still around today that have been around since the 60s. Okay? And this is when Stacey James started, which she's been in for probably about 36 years. So when she started, this was still a big deal. Even though there weren't other network marketing companies, as many as there are now, right? There's a million now. But her father said, if what you're telling me is accurate, then this not only tells me that this company is like founded upon their people, okay? This company was obviously created for who to be successful? Right, for the sake of women to be successful. For the sake of us to be successful. And he said, if that rings true, then Mary Kay Ash was incredibly generous. Not only was she brilliant to be able to make this formula exactly how she did, package it perfectly, that women could say, I don't see anything wrong with this cake. I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna run for it for the next 54 years. Not only was that, like, she incredibly genius, she was incredibly generous. And he told her, I want you to grab hold of this company and never, ever quit. And so she's like, that was her beginnings. That was her starting. Her dad gave her the go-ahead. He said, you know, give it all you've got. And so all of the emotional roller coasters that she could have gone through, the team building that didn't actually happen, the parties that canceled, the bookings that fell through, the people who came into her team and then did nothing with it. All of that, the emotional roller coaster that she was on, it wasn't as big of a deal because she knew in her guts that she would never quit. And I think that's when it really hit home to me, is when I first got started in this company, I was in it for like a month, and I realized, I was like, Jana, what are you doing that I'm not? And she's like, we're doing the same exact thing. And I was like, then why are you in a free car and driving a free car and making 3 times as much as I am? Like, that's not even cool. And she's like, because I have a team, because I've decided to never quit, and because I've decided to work this business the way it was supposed to work, the way that Mary Kay has given it to us, and take advantage of the 79 cents on the dollar. And I was like, well, then what am I waiting for? And that's the reason why I moved so quickly. I was like, if I'm going to keep booking, coaching my parties, selling this product, and recruiting the team members, then why would I not want that promotion? Why would I not want that level of like leadership and promotion and the free car and the influence? The influence was very drooling. Like, I was like, damn, that was very, very exciting for me. And so I was like, okay, like, why would I not want that? So Stacey James continues in her speech to say that, you know, if you're not going to quit, then go for the big stuff, right? She says, if you're playing around with this idea of it being not part-time, but if it's going to be like, if you're contemplating the idea of someday quitting, right? That time of like, maybe I'll just do this for like 2 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is, that time can create fear, and it can create this kind of like a way out. You're like, things just turn like sour, I'm just out, right? But she had given herself like, whether things turn sour or not, I'm not taking the way out. And so she said, well, if you're not taking the way out, then playing small sucks. Like, does it not suck? It totally sucks to play small, right? Like, I'm feeling like I'm playing small right now. And I'm like, I know for a fact that if we were at, like, in our Cadillac, doing like 50 to 70 team members in our team, it would be fun. It would be exhilarating. It would be like water off our backs. We would just all be working as a team, getting things done, living life, having fun, and it would not be a stressful or like holding people, what am I trying to say? Hoping that people will just stay with us, right? You're not going to have a scarcity mentality. Scarcity is never fun, right? When you only have like 10 names to call, scarcity mode. When you only have 3 people to turn into red, for your red jacket, scarcity mode. When you only have, whatever to make these big numbers happen, it's scarcity mode. You don't want that. And so she says, if you're not going to quit, then go for the great stuff. If you're gonna not quit, go for the big stuff. Go for the stuff that's fun and exhilarating. And here's the kicker. A lot of us, myself included, can get into this rut of like, I've hit my potential. I've been in this place for so long. I've never made it past this breaking point. And so we can tell ourselves that we've reached the end of our potential. Who's ever told themselves that lie? I must have just hit the end of my potential. Sam, if you haven't, that's great. That's great. But no, don't admit it. Don't ever think that thought, because it's a terrible thought. But sometimes we think we've reached the end of our potential. It's just not meant for me. Maybe I'm just meant to play small. And that's a total lie. What she says, and I've like written it out, I boxed it to myself on my notes so I can replay it back in my head. Get these words down on paper. You have not reached the end of your potential. You have reached the end. I'll slow down. You have not reached your potential. You have not reached the end of your potential. Tell me you got that part. You have reached the end of your willingness to get unstuck. Let that sink in for a minute. I'm going to say it again. You have not reached the end of your potential. You have reached the end of your willingness to get unstuck. And she follows up by saying there's always an answer to getting unstuck. Always. It gets so easy for us to just put ourselves in a box and say, not me. So-and-so doesn't got it like me. So-and-so has it like a lot easier than I do. Like, they don't have my life situations. They don't have 3 kids. They don't have a husband who's not supportive. They don't have, another job. They don't have the kind of demographics that I'm working with. They don't have the kind of like neighborhood that I am. They don't have the same neighbors that I do. They don't have the same community. They don't have the same like unsupportive parents. The list can go on and on and on. And we could find somebody who has the same situation, not maybe exact cookie cutter situation, who's making it work. Who's getting it done, right? So we have just reached our unwillingness to get unstuck. We have put up a thing that said, it's just not gonna work for me. It's just not my thing. Right? They have automatically put themselves in a box and said, I am not willing to get out of this box. I am not willing to find a way, make a way to get out and to get unstuck. Right? So whether you have 3 kids, no kids, husband, no husband, another job, another school, whatever it is, make it work for you. That's why Mary Kay designed it, to not be have-tos, quotas, all of these different things. Like, every single week you need to bust it out. That's not the way it works. If it was that way, I could understand how we might be like, I can't do Mary Kay right now, right? If I said, Sam, I need you to take on, exactly a 9 to 5, you need to get these, projects done, or you're fired, you might not be able to commit to that, right? But Mary Kay designed this to be a flexible way for you to be able to fit this into your life the way that it works for you. Right? That's why the freedom and flexibility. That's why you get to be your own boss and design this into your schedule. And I have done this time and time again with countless consultants. I say, show me your planner. We pull up a fake planner. And I say, okay, block out the times that you have everything else. Okay, now show me the times that you could actually make Mary Kay happen. And they can easily find 4 to 5 time slots. And I said, if you use the 4 to 5 time slots, this is what your paycheck could look like. At least $450 a month by just doing these 2 blocked out appointments. What does $480 mean to you? Oh, well, I don't know. There's just, and the excuses come, and I'm just like, okay, then you were just unwilling to get unstuck. I have shown you how. I have given you the answers. I've given you your solutions to your not perfect life, but here's your life. Here's where you can fit it. And if they're not willing to work for that, then they're just unwilling to get unstuck, right? And if it's a lead problem, what can we do about leads? I've seen so many of our consultants putting out faces.
That's so cute.
It's a
Have you
beautiful
put them out
thing.
yet?
Yeah. Right?
One of them working, one of them almost works great. That's awesome. That's so awesome.
Two of them amazing, by the way.
Thank you. 2 of my coworkers put their names in, and I've already asked them to do facials.
Well, that's okay. I know.
Well, they said
I
no
think
before.
Timing is everything.
Well, I know, and that is funny. And sometimes it's just the way it's worded, and they're like, "Oh, I could win," and it's just the fact that they could win. It's like
There's
they're already
competitive.
operating. I know.
There's competitive.
I know. Yeah.
So does that make sense though? Whether it be like, I don't have any leads. Well, you would be the one to say, hey, guess what? We just did this. Facial boxes, rose promotions. I've gone to wedding shops, like dress shops, and actually handed a rose to every single bride that walks through the door for 3 hours and generated leads that way. I've done it through a quinceañera store too. It was a whole Mexican dress shop for quinceañeras, and I did it through them too. I've done facial laces and boxes before. I've also warm chatted lots and lots. You guys hear about my warm chats all the time. And of course, referral games. So there are ways, right? So when people are, oh, I've already talked to the 10 people I know and nobody's willing to buy from me. Well, that does suck. Let's let them have a pity party for 2.5 seconds and hand them a couple bonbons and say, okay, yours was a little bit harder than Sam's. Or a lot harder than Paige's, right? Paige had like I don't even remember. Paige will have to correct, I don't know. I think it was at least $700 and like, whatever. Nobody, like not everybody does that, right? And so, you know, I had no sales at my grand opening. Sam had like $100 at your grand opening. You know, so if those things happen, be like, dude, that's fine. That's fine. Mary Kay wasn't supposed to be like, your grand opening is the telltale of all the parties that are gonna come. Like if that was, Heidi would have quit. She had like one person show up, right? But you at least had sales, right? And I didn't have any sales. So, I mean, that's just life, right? And so we teach them the numbers, we teach them the averages, we teach them how to work this business around their life and everything like that. But whether or not, like where you are right now, look at like, write down where you want to be. What is your next best step forward? What is your next best promotion? What is your next best paycheck? What is your next best goal? What is your next best whatever? What would that be for you? And then give yourself a deadline. Like, my next best step is double senior consultant by this date, non-negotiable. And if it's non-negotiable, that word I feel like we just get so scared of because we're like, I don't want to say that I will, but I also like don't want to like put myself in like, I have to. But you know what? I keep saying Caddy by Christmas. Does this look like we're at Caddy by Christmas? Honest to goodness, does this poster look like we're gonna have Caddy by Christmas? No. But guess what? I keep speaking it because in my guts, I know that earth and heck can shake and we can have the crazy momentum. I've seen it happen before. I earned a whole car in 3 months. Why could we not go October, November, December and bust out and be at least halfway, if not all the way, to Caddy by Christmas? So I'm not just gonna be like, I'm hoping we'll get Caddy by Christmas, right? I'm not saying that because I don't want that to be, I don't want to speak that out like that, okay? So is my non-negotiable like Caddy by Christmas? Maybe, maybe not. At this point, I'm kind of recalculating and saying, okay, it might not be Caddy by Christmas, but it's at least Caddy production by Christmas, right? And so I have looked at like where I've been before. I'm looking at like where I want to go, figuring out all the stats and everything like that. But there are certain things you know you can say like non-negotiable to, just because you haven't done it before. And I want you guys to get excited about saying non-negotiable and actually going around, above, beyond, and through to make that happen. Like the way Sam reached her star. That was non-negotiable, right? You said to me, you're like, Emily, I could just do it next quarter. You said those words, and I said, don't. If you say those words, you'll have told yourself that you can always push your goals to the next time. That you can always just say, there's always next time. And that's not how we should be running our business because it falls ourselves short, it lowers our confidence, and it makes us have like more of a, I don't want to say sob story, but like when people are like, hey Sam, did you reach your, no, next time. Instead of being like, yeah, it was hard, I was sweating, but I figured it out and I made it happen, and everybody be like, dang, like that wasn't a cakewalk, but she did it, right? Your confidence is boosted if you can do that. What's your next step, right? So, did you write it down?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so then, once you've had that, what obstacles are going to get in your way? What kind of things do you know? You've seen them happen before, you've been in long enough, you know they're going to happen again. They could happen again. Changing over here. She's like so good with it. Totally forgot to change it. Oh, it's just like fan everywhere. Okay, so if you know that these obstacles are coming, then your emotions should be intact. Like, okay, I'm expecting these things. I'm not going to be shaken off when they don't happen or when they do happen, right? I'm going to say, okay, my emotions are strong, they're intact, I know what my goal is, I know what to expect, and I know what obstacles are going to come at me. Okay, once you know that, then what boundaries do you need to put in place to be able to make that perfectly happen? Does that make sense? Boundaries with people, boundaries with your time, boundaries with the distractions, boundaries with influences from the outside. Okay, so boundaries with time, meaning like time blocking, which we don't really need to get into. Time blocking or boundaries with people. There's certain people you don't want to have speak into your life when you're working on a big goal. Straight up. Like, straight up. Like, I won't even go there with people who are like, you know, my negative Nellies when I'm working on a huge goal. I don't want to go there, right? So boundaries with people, that would be that. Boundaries with the your dedicated work time. Is that everything? What else did I say? Time, people. Your non-negotiables. Oh, she's like soaking wet. She already knew
She's so
clothes.
wiggly. She's got that purple thing. Do you want me to put that on?
The purple thing? Oh, yeah, perfect. That's great. Okay. Sorry, distraction. Okay. So this has nothing to do with team building, but yet it had everything to do with team building. Did you catch that?
Baby peeing herself.
Yes.
Distractions happen.
Distractions
You just keep
happen,
going
you
forward.
No, but what did this teach you?
Delegate.
What did this kind of like emotional management and what Stacey James spoke about? Like, how does that help with team building? How does that even correlate? You're probably thinking like, oh, that's not what team building is.
Well, the story about how her view of the company and never giving up.
Sure. View of the company, never giving up. Like, how does this correlate with team building?
Well, dream big, you get big.
Dream big, you get big. So where's your vision headed? Okay, what else? What does that vision do? Like, big, what does big mean? Team members, right? Because where you're at right now, if you stayed as a consultant, how would big go? Customers, more customers, more customers, right? Which is totally great. You can still do Queen's Court of Sales. Do you know that in the at seminar they do a Queen's Court of National Consultant Sales and Queen's Court of National Director Sales? The exact same challenge is issued to both of us. $40,000 retail product sold, $20,000 invested in the company, $40,000 retail product sold, $20,000 invested back, which also means $20,000 in your pocket. Did you realize that? So that right there, when people are like, oh, Mary Kay might be, when they talk about multi-level, that right there sets us apart. You can stay a consultant and make at least $20,000 a month, or $20,000 a year, right? But, do we want to stay at $20,000 a year? I mean, there's probably people doing more. You know, the queen herself is probably doing, you know, $35,000 a year, right? $35,000 a year, okay, with her customers and all the products she's selling. But how much more fun does it get when you have this $20,000 a year and this $20,000 a year, or 50, 60, and then you're chugging it. That's where it gets exciting. So that's why I was like, why in the world would I settle for less? And so when things happen, which they do, guess what Jan always told me? Awesome, that means you're gonna be a director. Those exact words. So write that down. That just means you're gonna be a director. And I kept that perspective. So when you have a no-show, great, that means you're gonna be a director. Right? When somebody, whatever, great, that means you're gonna be a director. And it drove me nuts, like to the point she said it so much that I was just like, stop saying that, like it's whatever. But yeah, at the same time I was like, dang, it always brought me back to that perspective of at least you're not stopping, right? You had a cancellation, that means you tried. That means you didn't quit. That means you're still here at meeting. That means that you're making it work, right? So if you're gonna never quit, let's go for the great stuff, because the great stuff is really, really fun. Not just fun, but life-changing. What kind of stuff comes from here? When you see yourself in the great stuff, whether that be director, national, or car driver, or just as team leader, what does the great stuff look like?
Salary, like income that you could
Salary?
get in another job.
Okay? Which could bring about what for you, Heidi? What kind of like dreams would you do with salary like income?
More
AJ's bringing in
vacations.
salary,
Yeah.
you're bringing in salary, you've just doubled your salary income, you're making $60,000-$80,000 a year together combined, what does that do for your family?
I mean, I feel like we could go on more vacations, we could like
Totally.
not have to wonder where like money's coming from for extracurricular, we could not, you know, just not have to worry about, okay, how are
Would
we
you
gonna
upgrade
make
your
this work?
house? Would
Mhm.
you, I mean, what? Like the possibilities.
I mean, like, yeah, I will repaint our house, that would probably be one of the first things we do, is probably repaint everything. Upgrade our cars.
That's where it's fun. That's where team building just comes naturally because everyone's like, dude, you're making it work. You're getting stuff done. You're
Trips to
repainting your
Europe.
house. You're taking a trip to Europe. What do you do? What do you do? When I was actually on target for my car, guess what happened? All this group of people behind me, same exact people I went to school with, that I went to church with, that were my next door neighbors, that were people that I like saw at the gym all the time, guess what happened? They started gravitating towards me and they said, Emily, how are you doing it? Emily, what are you doing? And I was like, what? Now you want to know, right?
When I asked you a
That's
year
what
ago.
happens though. That's what I did with Jana. She was in a red jacket. I didn't know what that meant. I knew that she was like hot stuff. She was on it, whatever. But I wasn't ready, or she wasn't like in the level of confidence that I was like, I need you in my life. Like I was almost like a bug attracted to light when it came to like what Jana had and what I needed. And that's what you're gonna be. You're gonna be there like hot stuff. Everybody's gonna be coming flocking to you. Your warm chatting is like, you know, like it just oozes out of you. This like passion and excitement in what you're doing. And like people will just like be like whistling at your pink Cadillac and you're just like, yeah, that's what I do. Right? Instead of being like, who's gonna say this? Who's gonna say that? Playing it small. You know, so go for the great stuff. All of those interactions, all of those experiences, whether they be good or bad, make you into the director, make you into that team leader, put you in that leadership position. And so you need to find people that can gravitate towards you, and every time you do that, your confidence gets bigger with every promotion you take. Did the confidence come before or after the promotion? What do you think?
I mean, I think some confidence, like, you have to have some level of belief beforehand, but then once you're there, I feel like that's when you really feel the confidence.
I feel like mine was definitely, position and then confidence. I was like, I'm a director, I don't know how to be a director. And then I was like, okay, I can be a director. I mean, I'm still growing in my confidence. But I realized that as I'm growing in my confidence, that I will be that much more ready for senior director when it comes around. Like I don't feel like in the last 3-4 years that I have been in a confident position to actually bring somebody up the career path and be a director. Those words just came out of my mouth. Okay? But that's my personal journey. Maybe that's why God did not give me somebody who is ready to speed race up and become my offspring sales director right off the bat. Right? So God will give you people as you're ready for them. If you want to be ready faster, that's in your control. It really is. If I wanted to sit back and be like, you know what, I'm going to take the next 10 years to really get my grounding with being a director before I go for senior, guess what? It would take me 10 years to get to senior. Because of what? Because of my personal responsibility in getting myself prepared and ready and finding the people and going through the work that is required to take that position. Does that make sense? Like, does that really make sense? Let that sink in. So if senior, red, is your next step, then know that the process that you need in order to get red is where you're still at right now. There's a reason you're not red yet. It's either because you're not ready or because you haven't done the work required to get there. okay? When you get into red, it's because you did the and then some. You took that next level of commitment and you said, non-negotiable. I'm ready to do whatever it takes, above, beyond, through. But with what? Love, not criticism, right? You can force people into red all you want, but how excited would you be to stand in that red jacket if your 3 people aren't excited with you? Not very exciting, right? So, take that to thought. Okay, shift gears. We've got a little bit of time left. How much time do we have?
Well, I should probably I'm supposed to go back to my
That's why you keep checking the clock. Give her to Sam.
If you insist.
You insist. And on your way out, can you turn the knob?
Yeah.
That'd be great. Okay. Do you have all of these, by the way? You got one of these? Awesome. Okay, so shifting gears. Oh, Heidi, all this is yours. Don't leave it, please.
Thank you.
And this bag. Trust me, I was like waddling and I was like queen bag lady. I was like, some lady help me. And I was like, I think I win the bag lady award because.
Thank you. I've got more clothes for Evie too.
You do?
Someday. Yeah.
It was inside my laptop and now it's gone. Oh, here they are. Okay. Thanks for being here. Okay. So this part is kind of more of the fun stuff. When you're looking for people, and we've talked about the 4 P's before, like what you say at the parties. Tell me a picture of your life. That's the first P, right? Tell me about yourself. Picture of your life. The second P is purpose. Tell me what brings you joy, right? The third P, you're the flicking of mama. It's such a cutie. Yeah, you're the flicking of mama. The third P is passion. When was the last time you felt? Tell me about a time you felt successful.
Did you already announce about next week?
Bring it up. You announce it.
Yes. Alright.
Pause. Change gears.
Sorry.
Calendar
So, yes, so next week, I've invited a victor over domestic violence. She's actually written a book. She's from here in Omaha. And I invited her to come and speak about her experiences and her story to just kind of bring awareness to domestic violence. Since it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So she's coming.
So she's an author of a book
so
that
she's
she
an
wrote
author of a
about
book.
domestic violence.
Yeah, about her experience growing up with like her whole life, a lot of domestic issues, domestic violence, things that she witnessed as a child, stuff like that. She lives
here in Omaha?
She's from here in Omaha. Yeah,
You
she's
found
from
her?
here in Omaha. Yeah, so I actually found her checking on one of my facial bases. She just had like her little flyer there about her book. And I was like, I need to get a hold of her. And I did. And I was like, she's probably going to say no. She's probably way too busy. But I was like, I just have to ask. So I asked her, and so she's coming next week.
Awesome.
So yeah, so I'm really excited. Yeah, so I'm excited. She's excited. Yeah.
So she's just gonna talk for a minute.
So
about
she's just
her
gonna,
book.
yeah, so I think we're gonna give the floor to her like for 5 minutes, and so she can talk to us a little bit and kind of maybe help us in case we ever run into a woman in similar situation, or
Right.
and just kind of I feel like it's gonna be so motivating because she has like risen above so much, and so
I
feel like it's gonna be a great thing.
I'd love to remember in advance.
yeah,
Sounds really
I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Okay, all right, we'll see you.
Awesome. Thanks, Heidi, for making that
Yeah,
announcement.
thank you.
While we're on announcements, fall retreat, and you just scheduled something at the Lydia House for the November,
No, the first Saturday in November.
first Saturday in November, which
I
would
think
be the
that's the
first,
fourth. Is that
second,
fourth?
third, fourth.
Fourth.
Thank you. Yay.
All right.
Okay, finally have it on the books. I tried to call shelters and nobody's getting back to me. What? It'll just be for probably like two hours or something. I think in the morning. Maybe not. And we could do shifts. We can do shifts. There's so many women there. Heidi and Anna went by themselves the first time and they had 30 women wanting to do stuff with them. And so they ended up having to do the raffle drawings and have just only like 3 or 4 people get actual makeovers because of the time and because of how many people in the
I
house.
did too.
So if we did, we could have like 3 of us go in the morning, 3 of us go in the afternoon, or just, yeah, however that works. Okay, so hopefully you guys caught on to that. So Saturday is, Friday the 27th is our fall retreat, and I just keep announcing that because it's like the only time we actually get together and just our unit, Tracy's unit, do some bonding time and also inspiration, motivation, without guests, without it being so formal. We're seriously in PJs, eating chili, eating, goodies and drinking hot cocoa. So it's really, really fun. Last year we had bonfire and roasted marshmallows over the campfire, and it was really, really fun. So, another plug-in for that. If you guys have not seen me post like a million times about it, there you go. I'm really excited. Okay, so here we go. Back to our key questions to ask. So we already know at the very, very, very beginning of the party, what do we say? We say, I'm gonna read it right out of my script. Say, Mary Kay said that there's at least one person at every party that would be a great consultant, so throughout the evening be thinking if that could be you. I'm looking for 3 types of women. 1, customers who love our product, at least 2 people who will book a party, and 3, women who are looking for some extra money, something fun, or to change their lives. So that is interesting. So, something fun or the reason to change their lives, right? So you preface that at the very beginning of your party. Then what I like to do is take that a step further, getting to know them. I say, just tell me a little bit about yourself. If we only had, a couple of seconds or minutes, 1 minute to share about yourself, what would you like to say about your life right now? So what are we looking for? We're being mindful of what is mentioned first. Why? We'll get into it in a second, okay? You always want to be looking for what they mention first and most often. If they come back to it, it's super important in their lives. If they say it first, it's like the first thing that they always say. It's like on top of their mind, it's who they be. Okay? So if I was getting to know you, Sam, let's just play around. Tell me about yourself.
I serve her, I go to school, and
Okay, so everything that you just said was like to show me what you had going on. That teaches me already that she is proud to say what she does. You're not like, I don't have a job, I'm unemployed, I have an abusive boyfriend, I have you know what I mean? Those people aren't gonna say any of that stuff first because it's not like I am this, I do this, I have this going on. You, by saying that to me, it's kind of impressive. Like you say that because you're like, I'm not, that's me, Sam. Okay, so that's that's kind of the vibe I get. Not every time, but there you go. So family, jobs, hobbies, you want to know what their first thing they say is. And then second, here's another way to reword the what brings you joy. What puts a smile on your face? If you like that wording better. Okay? Number 3, tell me about a time you felt successful / passion. Tell me when you've been most proud of yourself. Same thing. What did you like most about that? So, if the biggest, best thing they've ever done is graduate from middle school, they didn't even graduate high school, there you go. You know exactly who you're working with. There you go. Okay? Not saying that everybody who's hasn't graduated high school is doomed to fail, but you need to know their level of commitment, okay? And then what did you most like about that? And then number 4, fast forward a year. This is another way of saying, if you had all the time and money in the world, what would you do with your life? Okay? I like this wording better. Fast forward a year, what unfulfilled dream would you like to have come true that you're not living now? And what are you, where are you with achieving that goal? So this one kind of just puts a little bit more details in the picture instead of just here's $1 million and break all the time clocks. That's what I usually say, but I'm like, that is so dang vague. They'd be like, I'll be a millionaire and just live the high life and relax on the beach. And I don't know if that's really their core dream, or if that's just that seems nice and easy and relaxing. You know what I mean? So fast forward a year, what unfulfilled dream would you like to have come true that you're not living now, and what are you achieving? Where are you in achieving that goal? Okay? Note to a consultant: listen more, talk less. Why?
makes them feel important.
Makes them feel important.
Makes them not feel like you're pushing them.
What else does it do for you?
Makes you learn about them.
Right? What do you do with all that information?
Turn it into the why they should say, or why
So, here's a WAIT. WAIT stands for Why Am I Talking? I always like that. So it means wait, don't talk. Okay, relate the above responses to some aspect of the Mary Kay business based on the DISC chart, which we're going to go over kind of short and briefly because we only have 5 minutes. Okay, example, if she talks about her children, her family, then focus on how Mary Kay business will allow her to provide provide for or spend time with her family. We know that, right? She talks about her career and how she hates it, talk about how she could fit in more Mary Kay and less of this until she could merge into a whole new lifestyle, right? And she talks about how she absolutely loves, this idea of an animal shelter, running some kind of animal organization. That was a big thing with like you and Callie and Sam and Paige and everybody. Samantha, I think, was also in that. Jordan, kind of, I can't even remember. Anyway, all of you, I was like, okay, so, how could the extra money go towards something like that? Wendy, she's all about that. Okay. So, here we go. And then, when presented with the objections, when she's talking about, the time, the money, the whatever, then you can flip it and focus on the selling and focus on selling the prospective team member on her own dream instead of something that you're pulling from thin air. That's the whole idea of this new formulated question. Take what they give you, mix it with Mary Kay, and give it back to them as a beautiful gift instead of being like, okay, maybe she'll like this, maybe she'll like that, maybe it's recognition, maybe it's the CART program, maybe it's the maybe it's the income earning of 50%, maybe it's the freedom flexibility, maybe it's the finances, maybe it's the friendships, maybe it's the fun, and throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping that something sticks. And she's like, yeah, I do like that recognition part. Like, wow, that's going to take you all day, right? And that's kind of how things were going. I'm not sure if that's how it was. I think it was just Tara being questioner, it may have just been that. But if you can package exactly like who she is, and the better you know her, the better you can fit her solution. Be able to package it in such a way that she's like, I have no objections to this. You just answered all my questions and you just gave me back this formulated problem fixed, right? So that's what that's all about. Okay, so then you're selling her on her own dream instead of trying to sell her on something that you're like, but you'd just be so great at this, but this could help you with this. And she's like, oh, I don't even like that, But if you're selling her on her own dream, then she's all for it. She's like, you got my back and you're really in it for my dream, not your own dream, right? So DISC, if you've never heard of this before, you'll definitely want to look at it. This is your characteristics, and this is how they actually present themselves in your daily life. So if you're a D personality, you're very dominant, which means that you're, I don't want to say demanding, that's always the first word I think about, but you'll talk about your accomplishments, so that's kind of you, okay? Your characteristics are results-oriented, career-focused, make quick decisions, direct, independent, self-confident, and patient. That's it, right? Okay, so what you might focus on during the team building appointment, if I was trying to help you find Mary Kay that is a good fit for you, I would focus on leadership, income potential, independence, moving quickly up the career path, being your own boss, and flexibility. Yes, those would be important to you, okay? And at the team building appointment, I would share it would be a short appointment. It would be brief, but thorough. I would not dwell on the fluff. I would explain the marketing plan. You'd want to know the details of the plan, how it works, and the money breakdown. Provide direct answers, outline the steps to leadership roles, and then let you do the talking, and we'll probably decide quickly if this is for you or not. Okay? They're not the floaters. That's you in a nutshell. I mean, you're a D personality right there. Okay, I'm an I, so influence. So I would like to talk about myself and my likes. My characteristics, I'm people-oriented, recognition-focused, expressive, love to talk, enthusiastic, impulsive, not detail-oriented. And what I would focus on if I was trying to recruit myself is working with people. That would be a thing for me. Prizes, impact that I can have on others, the ability to be creative, recognition, and seminar. Okay, at the team building appointment, longer appointment, because I would be all talk. Allow time for relationship building. You better get to know me. You better like not just be talking at me, but actually be like with me. Let me do the talking. Let that girl do the talking. If I was recruiting myself, I would be the one talking. Don't bore her with the details. She doesn't care about the good stuff. You know that career pack for sure. You would have looked through it. I checked it. I did.
They'll spit it out and then get grumpy.
Oh, is it on the floor? So Jana handed me the career path and she said, read through this. This will give you all the answers to your questions. I looked at it and I said, okay, tell me what to do. Like literally, I threw it to the side and said, what do I do? She was like, okay, this is how it's gonna work. I'm like, yes, this is how it's gonna work, because I don't like the details. Okay, ask her lots of questions, provide stories of people who have been successful, show pictures rather than written material. Yeah. I'm all about visual. I don't like so don't show me the pictures more than the written material, and I probably still will decide quickly. Okay? The S, just to give you a brief description, I'm not going to go through all of that, are your steadiness people. They're family oriented, they're very slow movers, but they are very loyal. Heidi's an S. Okay? Slow, steady, family, church, security, safety and security are all about the S. Okay? So S can stand for steadiness, safety, security, all of that. If they don't feel like their questions were completely answered, I think Tara might be an S. If they don't feel like they are safe jumping into something, they won't do it. Like they have to have everything like perfectly put together, okay? And then C's are the people who are like, they always ask, what do you mean by that question? They want to know the nitty gritties of everything. So she might be a C actually, I'm not sure. I am still figuring it out. Okay? Detail oriented, perfectionist, analytical, exacting, precise, organized, likes the facts. Okay, they seriously are the people who like, this would drive me crazy. This cluttering. This would be in this stack. This would be over here. This would be, like everything would just be way organized. Like you're almost OCD. Perfection is like, what?
So I might be a C.
You could, you have D and C in you. Okay? I used to think I was a C, but I think I'm definitely like an ID. Because I like moving quick, I like getting things done, but I also don't like I like the people and the talking and that relationship building more than I like the competitive drive and all that stuff. So let's go ahead and close it out because it's 7 o'clock. People are probably here. Hopefully you learned something about team building and attitude towards recruiting and the business and everything else. And we'll talk soon.